Great.
I called him, he didn't answer.
Must known it was you.
He says my calls don't go through. Same number, but I don't understand him.
Okay. Oh, forgot. Where's my disclaimer?
I don't know.
Welcome. I don't know by heart yet.
You know by heart? Yeah, I
Okay.
know by heart. Yeah.
Welcome to Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard for the second time beginning after Pesach 2014. This class meets in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, the center of the universe, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas, Moshe, Margaret Vogel, blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. Okay, so right now we are on page 1327. We are, we're in the middle of the chapter. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I don't remember this. It is, we started up by saying that the day we left Egypt, there was developed or mature consciousness so that we could be redeemed. But after that, they departed from Zerampin and they have to be restored. We did say that it's the three aspects of the mind. From Zerampin, it returned to original state, and it's from the Mochin, from the intellect. And then we count the Omer. When we count the Omer, we have to draw down, and the words here, draw down these states of expanded consciousness again. And we said how we count. Now we have 7 days, and each of those days, we have 7 weeks. In each of those weeks, there is a different, we're working on a different sephira. And that was on page 1327. So that the first week is for Chachma, second week of Bina, third week of Chesed within Das, and the fourth week Gvura of Das. The fifth week Chesed, sixth week Gvura, and then the seventh week is Tiferes and Malchus. And then in the right it says the different names they have expanded spelling that are connected. So we have 4 names of expanded spelling. We take the Yud K Vav K, the 4 letters of Hashem's name, we expand them. In other words, we write the name of the letter. So that Yud is 10, but Yud is spelled Yud Vav Dalid, which now has a value of money. And if we do that, we can hit 72, 63, 45, or 52, depending on how we spell the letters. Specifically, the letters Hey can be Hey Yud, Hey, or Hey Aleph. The letter Vav can be Vav Aleph Vav or Vav Yud Vav. So right now we're working on the 7 weeks, counting the Omer, and we're trying to restore, I'm going to say, developed or mature states of Chachma, Bina, Das, and so on. Now, when we count the Omer, we count the 7 lower spheres, starting from Chesed, and then Gvura, and so on. The first week is Chesed, second week is Gvura, third week is Tiferes, and so on. Each day that we count another sub-sephira within the sephira. So the first day is Chesed within Chesed. Second day is Gevura within Chesed. Third day is Tiferes within Chesed, and so on. Second week we do Gevura. We start with Chesed within Gevura. Then we go to Gvura within Gvura, and then Tiferes within Gvura, and so on, until the 7th week we do Malchus, and the last day we get to Malchus within Malchus. Now, in the way it's counted here, it's different. Over here, we count with Chachma, Bina, and Das. We sit over here. Chachma, then Bina, then Chesed within Das, and Gvura within Das. And then Chesed on its own, and Gvura on its own. So this is a different way to count. So last week we said how we count for each, what sphera is that we're restoring each week. Today we're going to talk about each day of that week. So the first week, this is the first day, this is the second day, this is the third day, and so on. And I guess we're talking about the sub-sephiras within the sphera itself. I prepared half, and I didn't prepare the last half, but it shouldn't be a problem. It's a pattern that repeats. We'll see how that goes. Because he does the first, so I did the first week, second week, and third week. I'm not sure if I got to the fourth week or not. No, I think I did the third week. I don't think maybe I didn't finish it either. I didn't finish the third week. But then the fourth week, fifth week, and sixth week are very similar. For some reason, here they write the seventh week. Secondly, there's some things here that I did not understand, where it seemed like the English did not match up with the Hebrew. So I did according to the way I understood it. So don't hold it against me, please. Don't ask me, why did you write this? And in the book it says that. Okay. I just didn't get it. This looks like a good one. Okay. Okay. Let's start with 11. So first, last week we said there are 4 values expending 8. Yeah, it goes here week by week. The first 7. The first week goes the sphere of Chachma, with all 7 subspheres is repaired. And so too for all 7 spheres in 7 weeks. Now we have number 11. There's another thing to have in mind when counting the Omer. In number 10, we showed the sphere for each week. For each week, there's also special connections. There are also special connections to the sub-spheres for each day. Let's check what's in for each week. The first week is Chachma, which is associated with the name of 72. The second week is Bina, which is associated with the name of 63. The third week is Chesed within Das, which is associated with the name of 45. And the fourth week is Gvura within Das, which is associated with the name of 52. The fifth week is Chesed, associated with the name of 72. The sixth week is Gevura, which is associated with the name of 63. And the seventh week is Tiferes and Malchus, male and female, associated with the names of 45 and 52, respectively. Everyone got that?
Yep.
Yeah. The name is repeated for the first, second, third, and the fourth week, and then also again for the first, second, third, and for the fourth, fifth,
So
sixth, seventh
you're
week.
saying is the fifth is the same as the first.
The
The
fifth
sixth is the same as
first,
the second.
and the
And
seventh.
the seventh has both the third and the fourth.
Yeah.
Very good observation. Very good observation. We're going to see in this next section that there's a lot that's repeated, I think. Also, things get repeated the same way. Okay, so Alan, we're going to ask you to read first where it says on page 1327, where it says, there is yet.
There is yet another meditation to focus on when counting the Omer, which is also true, which is that in each of the 3 aspects of the mind, as well as in each of the 4 above mentioned primary emotions, there are 7 aspects. The 7 weeks each correspond to one of these. I have to take this call. I'm sorry.
Okay. As I will explain presently,
Hello.
let us begin. That's a mistake in the book. Let us begin by explaining the order
Yeah,
followed
hold
during
on.
the 7 days of each week. Okay, 12. So here's my disclaimer. The following section is unclear. The English does not seem to match the Hebrew. On the first night of Pesach, all the spheres are elevated together. And we did mention that last week. The Arizal uses the word to enter. So therefore, I will be using that word too. All the spheres enter together. Oh, look at that. I just won something from Lowe's. A 4-tool flex combo kit. On the first night of first a developed state, then another developed state, then an undeveloped state. That's how they are elevated. That's how they enter. This is what it appears to me to say. It doesn't say this explicitly. First a first developed state, then a second developed state, then an undeveloped state, and then we're done. So the first night, everything happened. It happened in this order, but all of the spheres were elevated. After the first night, it says that they left. We read that. It was the opening paragraph of the chapter. And then they enter one at a time. So that's why we count 49 days of the Omer. Each day, we're counting a different sub-sphera. Each week is working on another sphera. And each day of the week, we're entering or refining a sub-sephira. And what it says is that since they already entered the first night of Pesach, which was temporary, the undeveloped state can enter after the first developed state and doesn't have to wait for the second developed state. So we said before that the first night, the night of Pesach, there is the developed state, then a second developed state, and then the undeveloped state. And after that, since it already happened on the first night of Pesach, the undeveloped state can enter after the first developed state. In the Hebrew text on the left, and now you notice that there are two Hebrew texts here. The one on the right is Shar HaKavanos, the portal of mindfulness, and the one on the left is the Pri Eitz Chaim. So in the Hebrew text on the left from the Pri Eitz Chaim, it says that even during the Omer, the Sphira enters after the developed state. And the only difference between the first night of Pesach and the Omer period is that the first night of Pesach, all spheres enter together, and during the Omer, they enter one sub-sphera at a time. This is what I understood it to mean. The English translation says that the order is first an undeveloped state, then a developed state, then a second undeveloped state, then a second developed state, but I did not see this in the Hebrew text. So if you're confused, just think how I feel. This is what I understand it to be. Alan, are you back with us?
Yes, sorry, I was a student.
Okay, no problem. You solved the problem for him?
Yes.
Okay. 5 plus 7, 12. Good. Okay, 1327 at the bottom of the page. Go ahead, Alan.
Let us begin with the first week. As we explained already, the first week is devoted to the Chachma mind, which possesses 7 aspects. Bear in mind that these 7 aspects do not follow the same order they did on the first night of Pesach, for then they all enter Antin together at once. Now, however, they enter one by one in ascending order. The sole difference between the first night of Pesach and the counting of the Omer is that during the latter process, the first form of immature, constricted consciousness can enter immediately after the first form of mature consciousness has entered, whereas on the first night of Pesach, it could only enter after the second form of mature consciousness had entered. The reason for the order followed by the various forms of consciousness as they enter Zer Anpin is the same here during the counting of the Omer, as we explained there in our exposition of the dynamics of that night. But now that all these forms of consciousness already entered their Anpin on the first night of Pesach, albeit temporarily, the second form of immature consciousness can enter immediately after the first form of mature consciousness. There is no need for it to wait until after the second form of mature consciousness has entered. The maturation process occurs in two stages, each composed of an immature followed by a mature state of consciousness. Thus, there are four sequential states of consciousness. The first immature state, followed by the first mature state, followed by the second immature state, followed finally by the second mature state. This is, in fact, the order that these states of consciousness enters their Anpin on the first night of Pesach, as reflected in the Kabbalistic meditations on the evening prayer of that night and the Seder that takes place afterwards. After the initial revelation of the first night of Pesach, however, the impression left on Zer Anpin allows the first mature consciousness to enter out of order.
So the impression that's left on Zer Anpin, since it already happened once, it leaves a mark. And now it's easier to go back in. I don't know. So again, I'm going to read the after the first night. Oh, it seems like after the first night, they enter one at a time. Typically, it's first a developed state, from my understanding, then another developed state, then an undeveloped state. But after the first night, since it already happened once, now the undeveloped state can enter after the first developed state, doesn't have to wait to the second. All right, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, so I know it. Usually, I think we have the undeveloped thing happens first, then it changes and it grows, it becomes a developed or mature. So I don't know why this is like this, but this is what it says. Now, we're going to go through each of the weeks. The first week is associated with Chachma, as we said in number 10. Therefore, most of the days are connected with the name of 72. Each day of the week, the spheros enter as follows. On day 1, the first developed state of Abba, associated with the name of 72. On day 2, the first developed state of Ima, associated with the name of 72. On day 3, the second undeveloped states of Abba and Ima, associated with Achtadam, Achtadam, which is a form of the name Elokim. And I'll explain what that is shortly, after G. On the 4th day, the second developed state of Ima, associated with the name of 72. So on day 2, we had the first developed state of Ima, and on day 4, we have the second developed state of Ima. Day 5, the first undeveloped state of Abba and Ima. On day 3, we had the second undeveloped states of Abba and Ima. On day 5, we have the first undeveloped states of Abba and Ima, associated with the name Elokim, with the Hey expanded as Hey Yud. And day 6, we have the residue or the impression of the second developed state of Abba. Associated with the name of 72. Did we already have the developed state of Abba? Not the second one. And on day 7, huh?
Yeah, we have the mature state of Abba, number 1, and now the second mature of Abba, number 2.
But there are two mature states. So on the first day was the first developed state. On day 6 is the residue of the second developed state.
And the seventh day is the mature day.
So the seventh day is the second developed state of Abba associated with the name of 72. So it looks like there's the first developed state and second developed state, first undeveloped state and second undeveloped state for both Abba and Ima.
And Abba gets an extra residue.
And he gets a residue.
Yep.
He gets the good impression. He gets the impression that's left there from the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Or the mark that's left from the first time. Now, in C, and the rest of the class is going to be the same format. C said that the second undeveloped state of Abba and Ima associated with Achdatam. What's Achdatam? Let's see if it explains it here. Aleph Chaf Tes Dalet Mem, which for some reason
it says Dalet Tes Mem in the illustration. Aleph Kaf Dalet Tet Mem.
Yes.
On
Thank you.
1329.
So that is, how did I write it up here? Did it right. So that is a form of Elohim in C, is formed by taking the previous letter in the alphabet to each letter of the 5 letters of Elohim. And let's see what that means. So first letter is Aleph. There's no letter before Aleph, so it remains as it is. Chaf is the letter before Lamed. Dalet is the letter before Hey, and Tes is the letter before Yud. So that gives us the next 3 letters. And then the Mem is the letter before final Mem. But since it's at the end of the word, it reverts to be a final Mem. And that's what we get to say. I don't know if you're allowed to read it like that, but Aleph Chaf Daled Tes final Mem. And then that's a form of Elohim. Look at this. We had I think 2 weeks ago, we had a name of Hashem that's Aleph Hey Vav Hey. And I was not familiar with, and here we have a form of Elohim. Not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So this is this. Okay. 1328. Jim, would you like to read?
This is their order. On the first day, the first mature consciousness of Abba enters, preceding Ima and reflecting the 72 name. On the second day, the first mature consciousness of Ima enters, again, reflecting the 72 name. On the third day, the second immature consciousness of Abba and Ima enters, reflecting the name Aleph Kaf Dalet Tet Mem, consisting of only 5 letters, as explained above in our exposition of the first night of Pesach. On the fourth day, the second mature consciousness of Ima enters, again reflecting the 72 name. On the fifth day, the first immature consciousness of Abba and Ima enters, reflecting the name Elohim as spelled out with the letter Yud. On the sixth day, the residue of the second mature consciousness of Abba enters, reflecting the 72 name. On the seventh day, the second mature consciousness of Abba enters, reflecting the 72 name. The name Elohim is spelled Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem. When the letters of this name are replaced by the letters preceding them in the alphabet, the name Aleph, Kaf, Dalet, Tet, Mem is formed. The first letter Aleph is not preceded by any letter, so it remains Aleph. The letter before Lamed is Kaf, the one before Hey is Dalet, the one before Yud is Tet. The letter before the final Mem is the regular Mem, which then reverts to its final form since it occurs at the end of the new word. Thus, Elohim is Aleph, Chaf, Taf, De, Dalet, Mem. All right. The permutation expresses how the power of judgment reflected in the name Elohim is mitigated as explained in detail in the Arizal's exposition of the Seder. In the 5th day of this week, the Hey of the name Elohim, the only letter of this name with alternative spellings, is spelled out with the letter Yud, since that letter is the defining letter of the 72 name, which predominates the week. So day 1, first mature of Abba, 72 name. Day 2, first mature of Ema, 72 name. 3, second immature of Abba and Ema, Aleph, Kaf, Dalet, Tet, Mem. 4, second mature of Ema, 72 name. 5, first immature of Abba and Ema, Elohim, spelled out with Yud. 6, residue of second mature of Abba, 72 name. And 7, second mature of Abba, 72 name.
Okay, good, thank you. Now, the second week is associated with Bina, as we said in number 10. Therefore, most are connected with the name of 63. Each day of the week, the spheres enter as follows. On day 1, the first developed state of Bina of Abba, associated with the name of 63. Day 2, first developed state of Bina of Ima, associated with the name of 63. On the 3rd day, the second undeveloped state of Bina of Ima, associated again with Achdatam, a form of the name Elohim, as it separates into the 2 letters that stay the same, Aleph Mem, and the gematria of the other 3 letters. So the first letter we said stay the same because there's no letter before Aleph. The final Mem became a regular Mem, and then since at the end of the word reverts to a final Mem again. So the 3 letters in between are Chaf, Dalet, and Tes. That's 20 plus 4 plus 9 is 33, or Lamed Gimel. So the name Elohim would be Achtadam, as it is separated between Aleph Mem and Lamed Gimel. Lamed Gimel being 33, representing the 3 letters in the middle. The 4th day, the second developed state of Bina of Ima, associated with the name of 63. The 5th day, the first undeveloped state of Bina, associated with the name of Elohim, with Hey expanded as Hey. And that would be associated with the 63 name, probably. And day 6, no, whatever. Day 6, the residue of the second developed state of Bina of Abba, associated with the name of 63. And on the 7th day, the second developed state of Bina of Abba, associated with the name of 63. Okay, Jim, go ahead.
The second week is devoted entirely to Bina, and therefore all of it reflects the 63 name as follows. On the first day, the first mature consciousness of Bina of Abba enters, reflecting the 63 name. On the second day, the first mature consciousness of Bina of Ima enters, reflecting the 63 name. On the 3rd day, the second immature consciousness of Bina of Ima enters, reflecting the name Aleph, Kaf, Dalet, Tet, Mem, as it divides into Aleph, Mem, and Gimel, Lamed, as explained above in our exposition of the first night of Passover. On the 4th day, the second mature consciousness of Bina of Ima enters, reflecting the 63 name. On the 5th day, the first immature consciousness of Bina enters, reflecting the name Elohim, as spelled out with the letter Hey. On the 6th day, the residue of the second mature consciousness of Bina of Abba enters, reflecting the 63 name. On the 7th day, the second mature consciousness of Bina of Abba enters, reflecting the 63 name. In this week, the name Aleph, Kaf, Tet, Dalet, Mem is analyzed further. First, the 2 letters that do not permute from their original form, the name Elohim, Aleph and Mem, are considered as one unit. The numerical value of the letters that do permute, Kaf, Dalet, Tet, Dalet, is 33, which is represented by Tet Daled. 20 plus 9 plus 4 is 33. On the 5th day of the week, the Hey of the name Elohim is spelled out with the letter Hey, since that letter is the defining letter of the 63 name. Day 1, first mature Bina of Abba, 63 name. Day 2, first mature Bina of Ima, 63 name. Day 3, second immature Bina of Ima, Aleph Mem Gimel Lamed. Day 4, second mature Bina of Ima, 63 name. Day 5, first immature Bina Elohim spelled out with Hey. 6, residue of second mature Bina of Abba, 63 name. 7, second mature Bina of Abba, 63 name.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Number 15. The third week is associated with Chesed within Das. So we have Das split into two. Das, of course, is the third level of the intellect, but it's split into two. There's Chesed of Das and Gvur of Das. Third week is associated with Chesed of Das, as we said in number 10. Therefore, most are connected with the name of 45. Each day of the week, the spheres enter as follows. Day 1, the first developed state of Chesed of Abba, associated with the name of 45. On the second day, the first developed state of Chesed of Ima, associated with the name of 45. The third day, second undeveloped state of Chesed of Ima, associated with Ach Batam again, a form of the name of Elohim. The fourth day, the second developed state of Chesed of Ima, associated with the name of 45. The fifth day, the first undeveloped state of Chesed, associated with the name of Elohim, with the Hey expanded as Hey Aleph. And then you take the Aleph and you break it up into its discrete parts. And the Aleph, we have Yud at the top right. The diagonal stem is like a Vav, and the Yud at the bottom left gives us Yud Vav Yud. This is how the Aleph of the expanded spelling of Hey in the name of Elohim. Day 6, residue of the second developed state of Chesed of Abba, associated with the name of 45, and day 7, the second developed state of Chesed of Abba, associated with the name of 45. Gershon, are you ready?
Third week, that's where we are.
Yes.
That's where we are.
The third week is devoted entirely to the states of Chesed within Das. All of it reflects the 45 name as follows. The first day of the first mature consciousness of the states of Chesed of Abba enters, reflecting the 45 name. On the second day, the first mature consciousness of the states of Chesed of Ima enters, reflecting the 45 name. On the third, the second immature consciousness of the states of Chesed of Ima enters, reflecting the name Aleph Kaf Dalet Tet Mem, as analyzed below, which is manifest as 3 times the numerical value of Yud based Kaf.
Yud based Kuf is 112.
Well, don't blame me. Its own numerical value plus the Kolel is 75. The total number of letters, if we count the 69 letters of the 3 repetitions of the spellings out of the names Havaya and Elohim, plus 6 for the names themselves, for a total of 75. As explained above in our exposition of third cup of wine drunk on the Seder of the first night of Passover. On the fourth day, the second mature consciousness of the states of Chesed of Ima enters, reflecting the 45 name. On the fifth day, the first immature consciousness of the states of Chesed enters, reflecting the name Elohim as spelled out with the letter Aleph, in which the spelling out of the letter Hey takes the form of Yud Vav Yud. On the sixth day of the fourth week, where are we? On the third week. It said fourth week in the middle here. Oh, on the fourth day? Oh, okay.
Fourth day.
Fourth day, okay. My confusion.
I got my veto pen ready.
Where am I?
On the 6th day.
On the 6th day of the 3rd week, the residue of the second mature consciousness of the states of Chesed of Abba enters, reflecting the 45th name. On the 7th day, the second mature consciousness of the states of Chesed of Abba enters, reflecting the 45th name. This week, the permutations of the name Elohim is analyzed further. First, let us note that when the two names Havaya and Elohim are spelled out, they consist of 23 letters. Blah. Three
So it's Yud,
repetitions.
then Hey, then Vav, then Hey, and
Yeah,
then
sure.
Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem. That's the name Havaya and Elohim. There's 23 letters there.
Good. I should wash my glasses. 3 repetitions of this number, 3 times 23, yields 69. In three repetitions of these names, we 2 times 3 or 6 names. Is that English? In 3 repetitions of these names, we 2 times 3 or 6 names. Okay, that's worse than my English.
69. In 3 repetitions.
Of 23.
It should be
Yeah.
R.
We do Havaya and Elohim 3
But the word
Havaya
we
and Elohim
does,
3
we,
times.
Word
This is-
we doesn't belong there.
we doesn't make any sense. The
Where?
word we. The 3 repetitions of these names, we,
Plus.
2 times 3, or should,
That
that
plus
we doesn't
6
belong there.
names.
What verb would you put after we?
Is
We get, we find.
R. In 3 repetitions,
I would say
2
I
times
would
3.
s- in 3 repetitions of these names plus the 6
We
names.
get.
We get,
Get.
or equals, something like that.
we get is better.
Yeah, we get something like that, but we
So-
itself is not good.
Yeah, somebody's going to edit that. Added together, 69 plus 6 is 75, which is the value of the permutation of the name Elohim plus the Kolel. Oh, so this is Achat Dam, is 1 plus 20 plus 9 plus 4 plus 40, 74. Now, if we take the sum of the letters used to spell the names Kabaya and Elohim, we have 72 plus 265, 337.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 3 times Yud Vav Kuf, 3 times
112, yeah.
112 is 336,
Plus the Colels, 237.
Plus the Kolel, of course.
which
Yeah.
still doesn't make any sense to me. In
Where
the
does the 265 come from?
We don't know.
Where's the 265 go? The name Elohim, probably.
the sum of the letters used to spell out the names Kabaya and Elohim. So that's 265, I guess. So the number of letters, 72, I guess, plus the number of letters of the spell out names, 265 is 337, obviously.
Is Elohim, is it 200?
It
And
must,
then remember-
must be 265.
Huh?
It's got to be 265.
And well, it's the
Or is it
sum of the
300?
letters used to spell out the names Kabaya and Elohim is 265.
No, that's 72. The names Havaya is 72, and Elohim is 265.
It must
That's what
be.
he's saying.
Oh, good for you.
Hold on, please. I think it was 300, but we've had a
Yeah,
lot of
I think there's a mistake. Elohim doesn't sound right, but that's
1 minute. Well, Aleph is 111. Lamed
Yeah.
is 74. That gives us 185. Hey is 15, gives us 200. Yud is 20, 220, and Mem is 80, gives us 300.
Hmm.
I don't know where he gets.
Well, you're not considering the taxes.
That's what I'm afraid of.
So let's see what it wants to convey with all these, because I have no idea. In the 5th day of the week, the Hey of the name Elohim is spelled out with the letter Aleph, since that letter is the defining letter of the 45 name, which predominates this week. In particular, this Aleph is seen to be formed out of 3 letters: Yud, upper right arm of the Aleph, Bab, the diagonal of the Aleph, and Yud, the lower left arm of the Aleph. And that's it. Is anything different in the Hebrew, or?
What?
So this last paragraph is a little messy, but
What's
what
the
do
problem?
so I don't understand what are we, because the difference here is that we're doing Aktadam, whatever the name is.
Yeah.
And now we further analyze, saying that the sum of the letters is 74, which we didn't see before. And my question is, so what? Oh, because with the Colel is 75.
This last paragraph says that every day on the fifth day there was a form of the name Elohim.
Yeah, 45. Yeah.
So yeah, but every day, the first week, second week, third week.
Yeah.
So Elohim has a hay in it. Now Havaya has two hays. And depending on how you spell the hay, if you spell it with a yud, then it's a Havaya of 72. If you spell it with if you spell it with 63, I think it also has a yud. If
Yeah,
you
but how
spell
do
it
you get
with,
how does he get Elohim to be 265?
well, I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm not explaining this thing. And if you spell the hey aleph, then you get 45. So it's saying that now that means, and that's how you expand the way you expand the letter hey in Havaya is connected with that number, which means when you have Elokim, if you expand it with yud, if you expand the hey of Elokim, it has a yud, it connects to 72 of Havaya. If you expand the hey with a hey, it connects to 63. If you expand it with an aleph, it connects to 45. Okay, now, so that's that. Yabok, we didn't do Yabok. Yabok, we've spoken about many times. Yabok is the name of the river. Yaakov crossed when he fought the angel. Yaakov lived his whole life at home, or most of his life at home. We can assume his mother cooked for him, she did his laundry. He had no responsibility. And then he left home, and his name is Yaakov. He leaves home and he goes for 20 years. He lives by Lavan. He says, when the ladder, he sleeps with the dream of the ladder, he prays that Hashem, that I will return into my father's house in peace, meaning that I'll be intact and I won't learn from Lavan's ways. I won't copy him. And it wasn't easy to live there. Copying him doesn't just mean, hey, he's worshiping idols, I'll go worship idols. There's idols all over the place, I'll worship an idol. That's not what it means, in my opinion. It means he won't stoop to Lavan's level. Lavan goes low, Yaakov goes high. Not easy to live with a difficult person. Okay? It's just very simply not easy to live with a difficult person. And it's very easy to try to treat them the way they treat you. And so Yaakov does not fall for that. He is in control and he maintains his high standards of respect, his standards of dignity and respect for others. And and after 20 years, he leaves and he goes back. He crosses the river Yabok. He wrestles with the angel, and the angel cannot defeat him. And the angel says to him, Hashem will change your name to Yisrael. And then he goes, and then a little later, Hashem changes his name to Yisrael. Then Yisrael, and it wasn't just a change of a name, but it was a change of status. Before he was the status of Yaakov. Yaakov was the heel, someone who struggles with the challenges. And now he has the name Yisrael, and it's connected with the name Sar. Sar is nobility. So now he deals with this like Sarah or Sarah are the ministers of drinks and of baking and of the meat in Egypt. Sar means nobility. And so now he's a different level. Now he has reached the level of nobility, dignity, as a result of 20 years living with Lavan and having every type of piece of dirt thrown at him and nothing stuck. So this is symbolized, this change in his status is symbolized by his crossing the river Yabok. in Kabbalah that we've had. What is Yabok? So Yabok is it's the name of the river. I think you look at it today. I think the name of the river is still there. It goes from the Jordan River and extends east into the country of Jordan. And so it is 112. What's special about 112? Elohim is 86. Yud-K Vav-K is 26. Elohim plus Yud-K Vav-K is 112. Yabok. So yeah, I guess Yabok, I don't know if I've seen this or a little bit. It's Toras Chaim. So Yabok stands for the idea of Elohim and Yud-K Vav-K joined. The blend of Elohim and Yud-K Vav-K. Sorry, I can't think of the right word. So this is Yabok. And it's also the name Yud-K Vav-K, which is 26, plus Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, which is 65. 65 and 26, 81.
Yeah.
No, 91.
91.
And Aleph Hey Yud Hey, Ekia, is 21. 91 and 21 gives us 112. Gives us Yabok. I think that's written. Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, Aleph Hey Yud Hey, and Havaya gives us 112. And the letters of Yabok actually stand for Yichud, unity, that the unity of godliness, the oneness of Hashem, and it stands for Kudsha, for holiness, and Bracha. So this is the idea of Yabok. Yabok is 112. Now we did times 3. Now what's the 265? I was hoping you'd forget.
How they get Elohim to 265?
And what? We said if you add up Elohim, it's 300.
But they're saying, but the 72 is Havaya, but how do you get the 265 for Elohim? How are they spelling Elohim?
Where did it say that?
It says
Now, if we take the sum of the letters, that's the sum of the letters.
Yeah, that means expanded spelling.
Yeah. So they're spelling Elohim some way to get 265.
Any significance on 337 if that relates to any word name or
What?
it's anything special about 337 or 336?
well, it's Yabok.
It's 75, 72 Havaya
Yeah.
and 265.
All right. And so what's the significance of 337? I know 337.
And it's not, wait,
It's 3 times your book.
it's not the other name. It's not Aftadam.
Yeah, 3 times.
Oh, it says Aftadam. Aftadam is
74.
74. What does that have to do with anything?
So we have 75. Fine, I can live with that. Then Adam for 74. And now, without any connection that I see, they do. Now, if we take the sum of the letters used to spell out the names Havaya and Elohim, we have 72 and 265 going 337.
This is like chemistry class, no, Gershon?
No.
So
Hey,
we have a question.
We should get a math tutor. Alan, can you help us?
Yeah. Now,
I don't know what the 265.
how they spelling Elohim is how do you get that? Whether Elohim is
300. Elohim is
Yeah,
300.
I don't see how either.
Aleph is 1, right?
Aleph is 111.
Oh, they do the expanded. They do the expanded
Expanded spelling. Yeah. Okay. So this is where I stopped. I didn't get to explaining this. Okay. So now we're on the next part, 1331 at the bottom. Abigail, would you like to read the fourth week?
The fourth week is devoted entirely to the states of Gavura within Das, and all of it reflects the 52 name as follows. On the first day, the first mature consciousness of the states of Gavura of Abba enters, reflecting the 52 name. On the second day, the first mature consciousness of the states of Gavura of Ima enters, reflecting the 52 name. On the third day, the second immature consciousness of the states of Gavura of Abba and Ima enters, reflecting the name Aleph Kaf Dalit Tet Mem, manifest as its numerical value 74. On the fourth day, the second mature consciousness of the states of Gavura of Ima enters, reflecting the 52 name. On the fifth day, the fourth immature consciousness of the states of Gavura enters, reflecting the name Elohim as spelled out with the letter Aleph, with the letter Aleph used to spell out of the letter Hey, taking the form of Yud Vav Dalet. On the sixth day, the residue of the second mature consciousness of the states of Gavura of Abba enters, reflecting the 52 name. On the seventh day, the second mature consciousness of the states of Gavura of Abba enters, reflecting the 52 name.
Okay, T.O. So it's all the same format. It's all the same style. It just changes the value of Avaya. 72, 63, 52, 40, 45, and 52. And then it also changes which sphera we're working on. With Chachma within, Bina, the Chesed of Das, Gvura Das, and so on. And then it also changes the name, the two things. Changes the Achtadam changes. So over here it is the value of Achtadam, which is 74, and then it also changes the Elokim in day 5. So over here, before we said on day 3, we said one of the days, I don't remember, day 1, day 2, or day 3. We said that it was day 3. We take the Elokim, we expand the letter Hey, which is Hey Aleph. And what do we do with the Aleph? We take the Yud on the top right, Yud on the lower left, and then the diagonal in the middle, which is a Vav. By the way, that's Yud plus Vav. Can anyone do math?
What?
21.
Huh? Yud plus Vav. That makes an Aleph.
Yes, it's 26, right?
2.
Correct. 26. What else is 26? What else is 26?
Vav is 6.
Vav is 6. 2 yuds is 10 each.
What else is 26?
26 is
Chavaya, Elohim.
Abaya.
Avaya. So there's top right is a Yud.
Avaya is 26, yeah.
So top right is a Yud. Yes. Bottom left is a Yud and a Vav in between. Now this time we're going to say different. And these are written in different places. This time we're going to say that the top right is a Yud. The middle is a Vav. But the bottom left is an upside down Daled.
Oh.
Okay? And that's how it interprets it here. The bottom left, I think, is a little more pronounced, or having fun.
I can tell.
Than the top Yud. So you could look at the bottom left as an inverted Daled.
Yeah.
And so that's here it says, that's how it looks, that's what it does with the name Elohim. Name Elohim, the hey, we're gonna expand it to be hey aleph. And so that aleph now is yud vav daled. Okay, so that's the difference over here. Okay, go ahead, Abigail. In fifth day. I think so.
In
Da.
fifth day of this week, the hey of the name Elohim is spelled out again with the letter Aleph, but this time the Aleph is seen to be formed out of the three letters Yud, the upper right arm of the Aleph, Vav, the diagonal of the Aleph, and Dalet, the lower left arm of the Aleph. So day one, first mature
Oh, yeah.
of Gevura of Abba, 52. Day two, first mature Gevura of Ima, 52. Day three, second immature of Gevura of Abba and Ima, 74 as derived. Day four, second mature Gevura of Ima, 52 name. Day five, first immature of Gevura, Elohim spelled out with olive, Yud Vav Dalet. Using Yud Vav Dalet. Day six, residue of the second mature of Gevura of Abba, 52 name, and day seven, second mature of Gevura of Abba, 52 name.
Okay, thank you. So the first week was for Chachma, second week was for Bina, third week was for Chesed of Das, and the fourth week was Gvura of Das. The fifth week is for Chesed on its own. Okay, go ahead, Abigail.
The fifth week is devoted entirely to the Sephira of Chesed, and therefore it is altogether similar to the first week with regard to the Sephira of Chachma.
The sixth week is about Gevura. So the same idea.
The sixth week is devoted entirely to the Sephira of Gevura, and therefore it is altogether similar to the second week with regard to the Sephira of Bina.
And then the seventh week, we said it's for Tiferes and Malchus.
During the seventh week, one must have two meditations in mind, both those of both the third and fourth weeks. For this week corresponds to Tiferes, whose meditation is similar to that for the states of Chesed, to which the third week was devoted, and to Malchus, whose meditation is similar to that for the states of Gevura, to which the fourth week was devoted.
Was.
The fourth week as devoted.
Okay, I got it. My veto pen.
Hmm.
So there you have it. Raise your hand if you're confused.
It goes in the cupboard, right? You put it up in the cupboard and you know what's up there. You don't know what to do with it, so it's in that cupboard above the fridge.
Okay. So that's what, but it gives us an idea. A vague idea, but an idea.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Okay.
Yes.
Boy. Yeah.
It's as clear as mud.
Mental gymnastics.
It's clear as the waters in the Bay at Baltimore.
Well,
Port of Baltimore.
well,
Right.
what I've said before, and I can say here is, like, I sometimes I wonder how complex it is, and then I think there are times we compare it to the human body. And I think, look at the human body.
Uh-huh.
There's so many different systems, right? And then you need to go to the specialist. They send it to the neurologist. They send it to the nephrologist. They send it to the oncologist. Hopefully not. You don't need to go. What else? What are the other doctors? The cardiologist.
Dermatologist.
Gastroenterologist.
Who?
Gastroenterologist.
Thank you. Thank you. So you've got all these specialties, right? All dealing with the human body. Okay, there's billions of us in the world. And yet there's the science is going on and on and on. There's so much that we still don't know. So if the human body can be this complex, when we learn around here that there's chachma within chachma, and there's a chesed within chachma, and das is split into two, and so on. It's there. It could be It could be much more complex even than what we're reading. But what we do see is that they all follow the same pattern. All 7 weeks follow the same patterns.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of my friend Beverly, who's in my Parsha class, and she's not sure God exists, but she keeps studying and studying. And she asks me, how are you so sure? And I tell her probably a lesson from this. Don't ask, just go with it. You know, just go with it and don't ask. Just take the truth out of.
Well, just look.
Just
I don't
do
know.
it.
I don't know what her field is, but just look at the human body.
She's
Look
a
at Earth.
physician.
Look at
She's a
the
doctor.
atoms.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
And the sinks. What's inside the atom? A zinc? A sink?
The inside the molecules are atoms.
No, inside the atoms. There's neutrons,
Protons, neutrons,
protons.
electrons,
And what, Garrison, what are they made out of?
quarks, all kinds
Quarks. That's it.
Energy.
of energy.
Quarks. Look at the
Quarks,
quarks. Look how
Stephen?
complex everything
Oh,
is.
quarks. Like forks.
Quarks. And you breathe and your heart beats.
Q-U-A-R-K, a quark.
And you eat and it gets digested and then you excrete.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, I have a trial tomorrow. So
We'll give you a bracha. You should do well on the trial, and you should.
I'll leave at that point.
You should take the energy from here and befuddle the other, the witnesses of the other lawyer.
Very good. Have a good night. Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Good luck.
Before you sign off,